what we've done here, and we've got the breakdown of each player, like basic stats, whatever. Z's going to go through each of them, and this is his personal rankings for all WHL draft eligibles. We got a top 10. We've got some honorable mentions, but we've also included his range, and that's just kind of roughly where he could see them going or where he thinks they should go, maybe. I mean, you tell us, Z, is the range where you expect them to go or where you think they should go?
That's where I would have them going. So I think, like, for example, the guy that we're going to start with, I think he's going to lower than I have him. So it's my personal, like, he could go in this range and it feels fair and right to me personally. And a couple of them are very much subject to change, by the way. So I'll throw that disclaimer out there.
Well, all of them are subject to change. This is where you stand today, February 21st, 2024. So let's hit it here, Z. We've got number 1 in your WHL 2024 NHL draft class, Berkly Catton, center out of the Spokane Chiefs. What do we got here?
Yes. I love this player. I've got, so as you can see down here, my range for Berkly Catton is anywhere from 3 to 6. I think he will go later than that, probably. He does legitimately everything well, and his offensive upside is comical. Like playmaking, goal scoring. I think that stat line actually it is edited to the change I made like an hour ago because he's
literally making these right now. So
whatever. Captain was captain last year for Spokane. Like the ceiling for him is like top line point per game player. He's a dynamic playmaker. He's a great skater. He also has a fantastic defensive game. So for me, he's easily like, I kind of put him in his own tier. And like some of these guys that we'll mention in the top 10 are legit like top 10 contenders. For me, he's in his own category, not just because of how good of a season he's having for Spokane, but like we've seen this from him for a couple of years now, where like as a double underager last in WHL, he's one of the best players I've seen play. So I love every aspect of this kid's game. I think his ceiling is insanely high, and just like the fact that he also has a two-way game to go with the ridiculous offense is just a massive plus. And again, Spokane's like, they're a playoff team. They're going to be good, but they're not like a contender at all in terms of like the WHL playoffs, Memorial Cup. But, you know, 2-year captain as such a young guy, love him. So Berkly Catton, easily my number 1 rated prospect out of the WHL this season. Lot to love about Berkly Catton. Big fan.
So where realistically is he being slated right now by the quote unquote experts?
He's probably closer to 10. I think part of that has to do with like the hard on everyone has right now for Salayev, which I get it. Yeah, no, there are a couple. So like the thing with him, or well, a couple of the other guys, I think there's going to be a huge run on defensemen very early in the draft. Like even now, like even more than we've said before, like there are more defensemen who are just getting hurt. Even like a guy, I think someone's going to take Yakemchuk before they take him. So, you know, and I get that because some of the tools that some of these defensemen do have are like very, very, very appealing. But, I think the run on defensemen is going to start very early again. I feel like the last couple of years, it's been unexpected how many like defensemen get taken very early. Like last year was outrageous almost. How many guys end up going in the first round that I wouldn't have taken there. So I think that run on those defensemen will push some of the other like guys that I would probably lean on for top 5, top 6, whatever. Like there's going to be a ripple effect for a few guys, and Catton definitely falls in that pool. The fact that he's 5'11", you know, is going to really affect a whole lot of rankings, I think. But he is like Berkly Catton is absurd. Like he is so fucking good, dude. He rules. I love this kid.
Fair enough. All right, moving on to number 2, we have Cayden Lindstrom, center out of Medicine Hat Tigers.
He is So so one thing that's going to affect possibly his wherever he goes is the fact that he's been hurt for a little bit now. But this is a 6'4". He's listed at 216. He's probably closer to like 225. Center, who another guy, excellent two-way game, but his offensive upside is through the roof. Like, he's unbelievably smart. So again, dynamic playmaker while being a goal scoring threat. I mean, he's actually put up way more goals than I thought he would at this point. Like, he's only played in 32 games this year because of this injury, but he's got 27 goals, which before this year, like, it's like, oh, that's a really good big playmaking center. He's probably like tail end of the first, early second, and you'll get like a steal possibly. At this point, he's easily top. I mean, my range right here listed is anywhere from 4 to 7, which actually I think even with this injury is going to prove to be accurate in the long run, just because you're getting a 6'4", 200 or whatever pound, like ridiculously high offensive center. And he is fucking mean. Like, if he doesn't have it one night, he will be like just the biggest prick on the ice. He hammers guys. But the trajectory with him the last 2 years has been crazy. So that's why he started tracking before the year started. And then the beginning of this season, like since the Hlinka Gretzky tournament, where he was one of their best forwards for Canada, he just continued on that track. So between the size, the two-way game, and how much boom potential there is for a kid like Cayden Lindstrom, I think he does ultimately end up going anywhere from 4 to 7 or so. So I feel like that'll end up being accurate. But again, the two-way center that just happens to be fucking massive and mean as shit. You're getting a kid at 17, 18 years old with some of the highest upside in this draft. So that's why I put him at number 2.
Seems reasonable. All right, moving on to number 3. Iginla, left wing, Kelowna Rockets.
Another guy that the trajectory has been insane this year. Again, Kelowna, they'll be a playoff team. They're not by any means a contender. Before this year, it was kind of just like uncontrolled chaos when he was on the ice, where he was just like touching the puck and immediately like shot, shoot, goal, maybe, hopefully, and then just like skating like a fucking madman. This year, he's like 6 or 7 goals per game. He's got 37 goals in 52 games to go along with 28 assists for 65 points. But he's a good size. He's going to get bigger too. But the skating is decent enough where this offensive upside that he's flashing this year, like, there are certain guys who, if there's skating problems, there's some guys like that's just not correctable. But there's nothing about the skating we can fix here. Him, it's a lot different. Like that, there's at least some like top speed. What he gets there, that's like, oh, okay. So at least there's a baseline of like, if we could just correct a few mechanical things, we can get him to display some significantly better skating prowess. But that's the case with him. But the thing with this year is like, he's always had a great shot. This year, he's more selective in terms of like letting these shots go in like just better areas of the ice, like higher percentage. So I think he is a very smart player. But he, like, at this point is only scoring huge goals. I think he has like 4 or 5 OT winners. Like he did on Monday, he scored another OT winner. He's a if any big game, he's going to show up. And again, he's a decent enough two-way winger that like you're not really worried about him being like a power play merchant or just like all offense. But the trajectory with him, I think he will be flirting with top 10 by the end of the year. So I have his range right now anywhere from 12 to 20. There are certain people that are putting him in the top 10 already. But the start of the year, everyone was curious to see if like his crazy production offensively was going to continue, if there's going to be any longevity there. And he's only like it just hasn't even come close to like plateauing or like going down at all. Like he is only getting better this year. it also helps. He's going to have a pretty good role model or someone to bounce ideas off. And Jerome Iginla, his father, that's decent guy to have on your side.
Wild fans wouldn't know anything about him.
No, never heard of him.
But how similar is his game to Papa Iginla? Like, is it very similar shades of it, or are they just completely different animals?
I would say he's more flashy, less like he's not gonna fight guys he's not gonna look to get what he's not afraid to get in the mix.
He's allowed to play in the WHL.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, he's yeah. Iginla could fight. Jerome Iginla could fight and enjoyed fighting. And he just happened to also have in his bag 100-point potential every year. Tij Iginla's got the 100-point potential. He's not afraid to get in the mix, super physical. He's not afraid of it, but that's not going to be something that you're oh yeah, he's got that in his bag too. You're taking him for the high upside, the boot potential, because this year it is some of the goals he scored this year are absurd. So big fan of Tij Iginla. That's why I put him at 3. And I feel like that range is fair, 12 to 20. And again, I could see him getting close to 10, 11. But yeah, love Tij Iginla. One of the most fun players to watch in this draft class. And he's got top 6 high goal scoring potential written all over him, and he's got the playmaking go along with that too.
Okay. That sounds pretty okay. All right, moving on to number 4. Carter Yakemchuk, right-handed defenseman, Calgary Hitmen.
Oh, yeah. So this is a guy, so my range that we listed here, again, same as Tij Iginla, 12-20. I think he's going to go way earlier. He will probably be a top 8 guy. Number 1, if you're a defenseman who is as big as he is, 6'3", right around 200 pounds, and you're fucking mean on the ice, automatically NHL teams love you. But this year in particular, he is flashing way more offensive. He's always had the offense in his bag. This year, he's almost at a point per game he's over a point per game for Calgary now. 55 points in 52 games to go along with 103 penalty minutes. I think he will go top 8. I think Bobby Mack had him 5, something like that. Maybe it was.
Wow,
that might have been Pronman for the Athletic. And I would feel safer with the 12 to 20 range, just because I do think there are certain limitations with the offense at the NHL level, where he'll flash occasional deceptiveness of the blue line, but some of the points that he is picking up are pretty hopeful, shots from the corner that just get tipped or end up as second assists. And it's not super consistent, but he picked a pretty good year to just absolutely light up the score sheet. But again, you're talking about a right-handed D-man that's 6'3", right around 200 pounds. That's tough as shit and has this offensive upside. I do think that screams top 10, especially with the run on defenseman we're seeing the last couple of years. Sure. So initially, this was a guy that felt, regardless of where Minnesota ended up, just to put a Minnesota spin on this, whether they just make the first round and get bounced in the first round, or if they just miss, even if they wanted to do that. I always thought he should be a player that's in that range. If they just miss out in the playoffs and end up picking 20 or whatever, I don't think he's going to be there. I think he'll be gone way before that. But this is a perfect player to add to the defense pool, because they've got
just missing the playoffs wouldn't be 20. Just missing the playoffs is 15.
Sure. Whatever. In that range, then. I think he'll be gone. Whatever, dude. He'll be gone. I do think Ian's going to end up being a top 10
sure
guy. If not top 10, 11. He's going, the NHL teams are on record. They fucking love him.
You're going to put it on the line. He will go top 11.
Mm-hmm. No problem. Yeah. There you go. But God, would he look so good in this Minnesota Wild prospect pool? Because again, we've got a bunch of specifically left shot D-man who you've got a good mix of some guys who are like all offense that are very high ceiling. Defensive game might be a worry. You've got a couple guys again on the left side that play a well-rounded game from Minnesota, and there's a couple guys that are just very defensively stout guys, both on right side and left side. I think a big, high potential guy that like is fucking. When I say he's mean, like anytime someone hits him, like he wants to go. Like he's like fuck. Like he's like insulted anytime anyone like forechecks him. He's just like, oh, you suck. Like get back here, you son of a bitch. Like I'm also gonna put up 3 points later. By the way, Gordie Howe hat trick, keep it change.
Yeah.
But the like just the offensive upside that he's shown this year, that's like on another level as years past. Like it's that's why teams already do love him for sure. But I think by the time Minnesota picks, he will for sure be gone. But solid. Like the foundation there is just like I think he's a high floor, very high floor guy, just given the fact that he's a decent enough defenseman. Plus he's got the size and grit. So we'll see. But I do think by the time Minnesota picks, I would be shocked if he's available.
All right. Well, let's move on to number 5 then. Andrew Basha, left wing, Medicine Hat Tigers.
Sneaky one of my favorite players in the draft. Again, another guy that for the past probably 2 years in WHL as like an underager has been one of the more skilled, very fun to watch players. So he's got like a really long track record of just like being so good in the WHL. They list him at 6 foot. I feel like they're being nice. I think he's probably going to like 5'10", 5'11". I just want to throw that out there. But like one of the best players in WHL, specifically like in transition. Like again, I think I actually mentioned him either last week or 2 weeks ago. I don't know. But like his ability to just get through insane traffic through the neutral zone, gain the O zone, and then just either set up a chance for himself or just create like possession in the offensive zone is like uncanny. Easily one of the best in the WHL at that specific. So like he's definitely more of a playmaker for sure. He's having a real nice offensive year, 69 points in 51 games. I'm very curious to see where NHL teams land on him. I think the fact that he's not like the biggest dude in the world, someone, there's certain teams. Yeah, exactly. You know what? They're not actually going to look into that. But I think his lack of like physicality and like willingness to really get in the mix at times, that might hurt him just in terms of where he ends up. If he goes outside the first round, I will riot. Like there's no way. I've have his range 20-25. I would also probably even, to be honest with you, I could probably change that to like 16-25. But again, unbelievably high offensive upside. Defense work in progress, but that's the case for most of these kids playing junior hockey.
Yeah.
But it's at least manageable. But like the skating ability, the deceptiveness, like and the playmaking, I think he's got a very high ceiling for sure. So another one of my sneaky favorites just overall in any region for this draft class. Sneaky all name team, by the way. Basha, kind of sick.
I think it's a good name, but in a pretty deep draft class when it comes to the prestigious all name team, I don't know that he's scratching it, but it is a cool name. I think this next name is actually a lot cooler. And also, Z, this is the first one. It's one of 2 in your top 10 that I feel like you haven't really discussed with me. We have Miguel Marques, right wing, Lethbridge Hurricanes.
Yeah, and another guy, and like this has been the theme. I feel like it's been the theme, like in the WHL specifically, but like crazy trajectory where Marques was looked at like mid to late second round pick type of player coming into this year. But this season for Lethbridge, again, another team that's not necessarily like a contender in any sense. So there's not a whole lot of guys on that team that are like sniffing a point per game, I don't think. 60 points in 53 games, but like the way he's doing it is electric, dynamic playmaking. He's got a phenomenal shot, but like he is one of the smartest players, I think, in the WHL. Again, another guy with a great two-way game. So that also helps. But he's gritty. He's got like the foundational skill, the hands, like the quick, deceptive hands are so fun to watch. And again, just like the trajectory has been out of this world. And another guy that's just like started hot and only got better as the years gone on. So yeah, definitely the first time we've brought him up. I think he does end up right around this range. I have him 25 to 32. I think another guy that like if he goes outside the first round, I will be livid. So this is again, I think the thing with him is just like the upside is insane. Just like some of the plays that he's making this year and like the advanced decision making and like reading of plays too. Another one of those guys is just like he's clearly thinking 3 plays ahead. So I love Miguel Marques. Great name, great player.
Really important fact too for everyone. That's twice now that Z's talked about a WHL prospect here that he will be furious if they end up outside the first round. I believe the last time that Z said that about a WHL player, they were the last pick in the second round somehow, and it turned out that it was an absolute bust of a pick. I don't know. Am I misremembering that?
No, I think you got that right. I think you nailed it. Riley Height.
Riley Height was the player slept on. So watch for either of these guys if they do slip into the second to be yet another of the amalgamation of Judd'z Budz that Judd just swoops in and looks like a genius yet again. Even though everyone will be upset that you didn't take Gabe Perreault, and they'll probably never get over it. So
yeah, they'll play a riot.
I mean, yeah. He's used to riots, though. I mean, he did come from Vancouver.
Yeah, he likes it, actually.
That should make you happy. Come on.
Right, come on. Exactly.
We don't like the 2011 jokes? All right. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Fine. I'm on Isha's side now. Fuck you. All right. Next guy up here at number 7 on the WHL draft eligibles for the 2024 NHL Draft. Ryder Ritchie, which this is the first guy on this list that I'm like, yeah, this screams all name to me.
Don't you feel like on his way to the draft, he should be like pulling up on a Harley, you know? Like he's just like possibly with like a Marb red behind his ear, like it's like leather, just all leathered out. You know, I feel like that's great name. I
actually
simple but effective.
I get that vibe from him, but I also get it from number 8 on your list, who we'll be getting into after this. Like, I don't know why that name gives me the same kind of vibe. They're completely different names, but I still get it. It's the versatility of bikers.
Yeah. Well, Ryder Ritchie. Yeah, fuck. So Ryder Ritchie is going to be one of the players this year that I will be particularly interested in, like seeing where they go. For me, he's easily a first round draft pick. He's been such a victim of the environment that he's in. Like Prince Albert sucks. They are.
You have the range 25 to 32. He's an easy first rounder.
Yeah. Easy.
Okay.
If it wasn't easy, I would have put it like 40.
Fair.
He is an unbelievable skater. Some of the best, quickest hands in this draft. And unfortunately, like him playing in Prince Albert has done just like, I mean, there's just no offense to be had there. So the fact that and plus he was hurt in the middle of the season, that didn't help either. But the fact that he's even like sniffing a point per game is just impressive in itself. But he is like just an incredibly shifty playmaker. Again, like some of the fastest, most deceptive hands in this class, to go along with one of the better skaters here. He's also super young, which, believe it or not, does like factor into a lot of these rankings. Sure. But the hockey IQ is just off the charts too. So like again, I would say if he was not playing for Prince Albert, I think he would still be in that like 15 to 20 range. But just like the fact that so many other players have been in better positions and have skyrocketed in terms of like their trajectory has definitely hurt him through like realistically no actual fault of his own. But again, like the playmaking is off the charts. He's so fun to watch. The skating. So like we talked about this before, 2024. So many players in this class are just like all the tools in the world. But for him, the thing is like he also has the hockey IQ and the advanced hockey sense to go along with it. So I wish he wasn't fucking playing at Prince Albert. But can't do anything about that, obviously. But he's also just another grinding two-way forward too. So I think he just marries like just every kind of tool that you want in a player. There's decent enough upside to make him like he probably should be like the 15-20 conversation. But to be safe and what feels realistic, I put him in 25 to 32. But I think anyone that takes him late first round, they're going to end up with a steal in their hands just because of like the foundational tools to go along with the hockey sense. He's a hell of a player. I really, really like Ryder Ritchie. And also, like we said, great name.
Great
name.
name.
Yeah. Like, dude, he's going to be on your first power play unit. He's going to be killing penalties. Like, he's going to be effective in every area of the game. Like, he's such a fucking good player. He's just like in such a shitty like environment for a kid trying to get drafted high. So it is what it is.
Fair. Now going on to his Harley brethren here. Number 8, Tanner Howe, left wing with the Regina Pats.
Fascinating case study in like prospects because like another kid. So he's one of the older players in this draft, which I think also factors in. Like he just missed. I gotta pull up his actual. I want to make sure I have it right. Like, yeah, he's in November 05. So he missed out on last year's draft by like just over a month. So I think weirdly people have also like held that against him more than I expected. But another like very high offensive upside. The skating for me is a bit of an issue, but everyone was putting a lot of his point or offensive production point totals last couple of years. They were holding the fact that he was playing with Bedard against him. Realistically, like he probably played away from Connor Bedard more often than he played with Connor Bedard for Regina. And again, like even with Bedard, they were like barely a playoff team. Ended up having a great series against, I think it was Kamloops in the first round, took him to 7 games. But like he started this year, no Bedard, Regina even worse than they were last year. And he is putting up the same, like I think close to the exact same like points per game as he was before. And the thing that's very impressive about that is like he is doing it by himself. So like he creates offense. He's got a phenomenal shot, one of the better shots, at least in the WHL for this draft class. So it's just been interesting. Like he hasn't really gotten a whole lot of love for like basically doing what he was doing last year, but even more like impressively this year. Which again, I just think it's kind of fascinating that like because of so many other players having like crazy trajectory this year, he kind of gets lost. He kind of gets lost in that mix. But like whether he's playing for Team Canada, whether he's playing by himself basically for Regina, he's just like well over a point per game doing the exact same thing as he's been doing forever. And people are like, yeah, but he played with Bedard. Like, but he didn't. Not really.
Yeah, you see where he's slotted right now for you.
Exactly.
Sure.
I'm putting myself in that conversation.
You know where he's fucking gonna go? He's gonna go in the second round to Chicago. It's gonna fucking happen.
God, don't put that.
You know that's
me,
happening,
Ricky Bobby. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby?
It's just gonna happen.
Yeah, but
I don't want it.
Again, my only concerns with him specifically, and the reason I have him where I do, is like the skating is a legitimate concern. Like, I don't think he's very interested whatsoever in defense. So the threat, like the risk there taking him too high is like, are we getting a kid that's just going to put up like 40 goals every year in junior hockey and then not really know what to do at the NHL level? But I think that's the extreme. I don't actually think that's the case. So I still have to have him in my top 10. I think he should be still a first round guy. I got him like anywhere from 30 to 40, but for me, like 30, 31, 32 feels about right now. And I could see if he pops, he's going to be like whatever team takes him there will be laughing because he does have that legit offensive upside. He is fun to watch offensively, and like the ability to create offense for himself too. It's just unbelievably impressive. So, yeah, I had him there, but I do think he like just does get lost because he played with Bedard. Like, but it's crazy. Like he also still has 69 points in 56 games on a shitty team. Like he should be getting more credit even from myself. But because, you know, he happened to play with Bedard for a little bit, I feel like that gets held against him. So I think he should be a first rounder, and I like him a lot. He's fun to watch. So we'll see.
Fair. Well, here's another all-name team consideration, and that's the second guy in the top 10 that I feel like we really haven't talked about. Maybe I've just blacked out when you did.
Probably.
Tarek Parashak, right wing, Prince George Cougars. Why does that team sound familiar?
Not sure.
That was awful.
Yeah, don't know why. If I could do this again, I would have put him probably in the first round. I think I have his range 35 to 45. So start of the year, he put up, I think he scored 12 goals in his first 10 WHL games. And a couple of those were like Riley Height, Zach Funk putting like pucks on a fucking tee and just like serving them backdoor tap-ins. As the years gone on, he is apparently a super dynamic playmaking forward who's very smart. He, again, decent enough skater. He's not like an elite skater, but he's fine. He had an assist last night that like ultimately because the assist itself was a shot on goal. It's not as impressive, but if you just rewind the tape, he takes the puck from behind his own net, beats two separate forward checkers. Then he beats one forward the neutral zone who goes off changes, who then comes back to support, and then just like butter carves both defensemen and the guy that came on to change another guy he cooked to the neutral zone. And then the goalie made a skate blade save. And then I think it was Zach Funk tapped in for the goal. So we got the assist on that. His production this year has been insane. I think he was barely on a whole lot of people's radars. Like I think a lot of people coming, another guy this year, probably mid second, probably even late second, early third round pick, just because he does have so many like the thing that he's always had is that skill, but he never was really on a team that like, I mean, he played one playoff game, I think last year in WHL. He was playing like, I don't even know what the league's called, like the Canadian Scholastic it's like Canadian prep hockey. Like literally playing high school hockey last year and then entered the WHL. Wasn't playing. He didn't even get a call up to Hlinka Gretzky in the summer. So like a pretty virtual unknown. And then immediately was like flirting with 2 points a game in the WHL, like goal scoring, playmaking. And it's been unbelievable. And he has not slowed down, where even just in the past like 3 or 4 months, he's gotten significantly better, where he is oftentimes whatever line he's on, he is driving the offense. Like it goes through him, which, yeah, sure. Prince George loaded. And there were a few points at point, like early in the season, there were a few times where like a few of his points were courtesy of someone else making like a ridiculous play, or it was on the power play, whatever. At this point now, like he is one of their 2, 3, 4 like go-to playmakers. So I think ultimately it's going to be undeniable to take him late first round. And I think there's teams that probably convince themselves to take him like even in the middle of the first round. I think there's decent enough upside to talk yourself into that. I think if he had been the WHL last year and shown Obviously not like point per game potential, but like shown a little bit more and people had more exposure to him, it would be a no doubt like anywhere from 10 to 15 at this point, just because of how ridiculous he's been in the WHL this season. But like, it is not an easy league to just step into as like a 16, 17-year-old. And he literally, I think his first game this year had like 4 points. I was like, oh, that's pretty good. And then he just didn't slow down. So the, just again, talk about trajectory. Like he is the definition of this year's, like he might be the biggest riser so far. I still have him 30 to 40 or 35 to 45, which if I could do that again, I would have probably put him in the same range as Tanner Howe. But I would just like to see it a little bit more, I think, you know, in comparison with those two. Like I've seen it from Tanner Howe for a couple of years, mostly because I can stream his games. I couldn't do that before a Tarek Parasak. But it is crazy. Like he didn't even get a consideration to go to the Holinka Gretzky, like national team call-ups, literally playing prep school hockey in Canada, and then just hits the WHL. He's got like 78 points in 56 games because he put up a couple more last night. But I think ultimately he will be first round, like no doubt. Actually, realistic again. I put 35 to 45 mostly because I had him at 9, and I had to put him a little bit lower than the other guys. But if I could do it again, I would have probably done the same range as Tanner Howe, 30 to 40.
All right, fair. We're moving on then to the final of your top 10. We will get to some honorable mentions as well. But number 10 for the WHL, we have Charlie Ellick, right-handed defenseman, Brandon Wheatkings.
Yeah, and this is one that, and then realistically, I'm looking at the list now. Him and Richie are probably the only two that are lower than I would have put them at the start of the year. The thing with Charlie Ellick is another right-handed D-man. He's 6'3", 190 whatever pounds. He's been playing in the WHL for a couple of years at a high level. Last year, Brandon was significantly better than they are this year. This year, he's just really, really stagnated. Like in probably the past 2 years, you've seen so many plays of him flashing like very smart, high hockey IQ plays, where now he's like reverting to like just trying to take the puck at the blue line and beat everybody wide and skate to the net and score goals himself. His defensive game this year has been not on the same level at all as years past. So I think coming in, you probably would have had him again, probably close to the middle of the first round. At this point, I think what's my range? 40 to 50 feels fair. Ultimately, because he's a 6'3", right shot D-man who's pretty mean and physical, I think he'll get taken higher than I probably would have. But the thing with him, like he does have, again, right shot D-man, so automatically plus 10 points or plus 10 spots. But skating plus defensive game historically has been a plus, and the fact that he's very physical, like, so he's got those tools and he's flashed really, really high upside, offensive upside in years past. It's just this year just has not clicked for him. Like he's got 24 points in 54 games. Realistically, if you're a defenseman that's going to go in the first round, you probably, in like playing junior hockey, you probably should be flirting with a point per game. So it's just been a weird.
7 feet tall.
Or be 7 feet. I mean, he has that though. He's 6'3", which is 7 feet. You know, same thing. Actually, maybe 6'5". Maybe I feel like 6'5" is the cutoff. Realistic. Actually, now I think about it, for like, he's basically 7 fucking feet tall.
No, being 5'11" and having them be nice to you and call you 6 feet, you're 7 feet. You're a giant.
Yeah, true. That's a good point. But I think I have a feeling, again, I think he will go higher than where I have him at 40 to 50, just because he has a really solid track record. He's been a Hockey Canada guy too, in terms of like getting called up to like Holinka Gretzky's U18, U17, Five Nations, U18 World Championships. So the track record's been there. It's just probably a guy that kind of falls victim to like the environment that he's in right now, and just this weird drop off, specifically like offensively, honestly, because he's still probably averaging like over 2.5, 3 minutes a game, just killing penalties this year for Brandon. But again, just like a really weird drop off, like more than you would have expected, even if he was in like a shitty team. There have been even like games where they've deferred from him on their power play. Like, so I kind of see some red flags in there, but like at the same time, you're talking about 6'3" right shot D-man who skates really well, who has a track record of just being a solid two-way D-man, not necessarily like a point per game, like first power play unit NHL type defenseman, but I think he can be, like he's shown in the past, he should be able to be like a reliable, mobile second pair guy. So I think like he looks to me like a number 4, like a solid number 4. And I think like for all of those type defensemen too, if like you can be projected as like, yeah, he might not pop off offensively, but he's very reliable, then I think that gets you a lot of points. But ultimately, the fact that he shoots right-handed and he is 6'3" will definitely help him. So we'll see where he ends up. But again, coming into the year, he probably was a mid first round. I don't know. Drop off's been a bit concerning. But yeah, that's our top 10, and I'm sure when if pass in the like actually it's like 3 weeks, I'll be like, actually everyone in my top 10 is no longer in my top 10 anymore. I hate them all.
I stubbed my toe. I'm starting over.
I didn't sleep well. Well, I can't even say that. I don't sleep well.
Sleep well.
Yeah, that's true. Something will happen. Something very minor. I will have a minor issue in my day, and I'll be like, motherfucker, let me go change my
inconvenience.
All my rankings are done. Oh, I'm changing it.
It'll be after you scurry.
But, I saw a question. We should definitely.
Well, we got a couple questions we're going to hit, but we should. I mean, do we want to address questions first, or do we want to hit honorable mentions first?
Let's do this. I'll name the honorable mentions I threw in there, and then I'll only like briefly just touch on a couple that I'm like, I probably will put him by the end of the year.
Fair. So here I have just the first group here because I can only fit so many on the scroll. It's the ones that you had to find ranges for, where the ones on the next group are just kind of like in the 50s plus kind of range.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I can announce them for you. Honorable mentions for the WHL. We have Harrison Brunicky, left-handed defenseman from Kamloops Blazers. Whoa. Adam, is it Jekko? Right wing, Edmonton Oil Kings, and Clark Caswell, left wing, Swift Current Broncos.
Yeah, and the one of these three that really sticks out is like, I think by the end of the year, I would probably put him in my top 10 WHL guys. I know my buddies over Elite Prospects have him in their first round. Harrison Brunicky, left-hand D-man from Kamloops, 6'3", 190 pounds. The big thing with him is he plays for the Kamloops Blazers, who, if you forgot, traded every single asset that they could possibly have ever had in their life for Olen Zellweger last year. And they immediately, after this year ended, or last year ended, they lost like Cayden Bankier, Kyle Masters, Olen Zellweger, half of their fucking team. So they are, I think they're the worst team in the WHL this year. And his big profile is like he is a big, extremely mobile, high offensive upside D-man. Like, and he has no opportunity to flash any of that offense this year, like at all. So through 48 games, he still has 10 goals, which is just like impressive in and of itself, to go along with 11 assists, 21 points. And he has, again, being on Kamloops means that you're going to be on the ice when you're playing like almost 30 minutes a night, you're going to be for the worst team in WHL, you're going to be on the ice for a lot of goals against. But defensively, he is sound. It's just like he's dash 12. It doesn't look like that's the case. But if you've watched him for a few years, like a kid he's that big, he's that mobile. And he is so smart with it, like his like on and off puck game. Like he is very fun to watch in the offensive zone too, where he is one of the like dynamic offensive like creating defensemen in this class, or at least in the WHL. So like when he's running their power play, it is fun to watch. Like he single-handedly creates almost all of their scoring chances from the back end. So I do think by the end of the season, or well, which I guess there's only so many games left before they have the WHL playoffs, but he was the one that I was trying really hard to put in my top 10. And again, like there are certain people who will put him the range that I listed, like 40 to 55. Meanwhile, you've got my buddies over at EP, Elite Prospects. I think they had like 22, 23. But a lot of that just has to do with the fact that he has every foundational tool that you want in terms of skating, skill, IQ, sound defensive game to go along with the fact that he's 6'3". Like that just is pretty good. So that was the one I was like battling with. I just had a longer track. Honestly, I was like actually kicking myself about Charlie Elick over him, because even though Elick has a track record and this season's been just not the same player that we've seen in the past couple of years, like I do think like this specifically the skating and the like play creation from the back end, I think Berkly might actually just have a higher upside. So it might, even just sitting here now, I wish I kind of swapped those two, but he's definitely one to watch. He is a very good player. I really like watching him. It's just like Kamloops is so bad. Like, I mean, so fucking bad. It's like he has no one to pass the puck to. Yeah, but so, like, dude, there are times where he's turned the puck over the blue line, like you're like looking at him like, oh, he doesn't want to give the puck to any of these motherfuckers. He's like, oh shit.
Yeah, but think about how good they're going to be in like 13 years when they get all those draft picks.
Yeah, when they drafted, they've been trading picks for players that haven't been born yet. That usually has a bit of an effect. He'll retire by the time that those draft picks come to fruition. You know what I mean? But by the time they get all their picks back with all the picks they traded last year, he'll have retired from the NHL.
This is the prime crop. We see all the parents that are going to have kids that year. Yeah, they're not the ones boozing and smoking right now.
No, yeah. Oh, fuck. All right.
We have our sources at the hospital. Don't worry.
Yeah, per source. Per hospital source.
Oh, man. All right. Do we want to move on to the remainder of the honorable mentions?
Yeah. Let me bring up.
Or do you care about either of these two?
I think the last couple honorable. No, yeah, we can move on. Right. Adam Jecko and Clark. Actually, they are both very interesting, but I mean, not enough.
Not interesting enough. So we're going to move on. So here in the remainder of the honorable mentions, we've got Carson Wetch, right wing Calgary Hitmen. We've got Ollie Josephson, center Red Deer Rebels. We've got Taryn Smith, left-handed defenseman Everett Silvertips, and we've got Colton Roberts, right-handed defenseman, Vancouver Giants. I gotta lead with this, Z. Please, please, please tell me that Ollie Josephson is just like a motherfucker, like a badass, because I don't know if I've ever like heard such a cupcake name as Ollie Josephson.
He's okay.
Oh, he is a cupcake. Okay.
No, but like he is also like one of my favorite things about. So actually, and I just looked at the comments and this definitely was not about Ollie Josephson, but Sean Cosgrove threw in their all vibes team ? I would throw Ollie Josephson in the all vibes team. He is nasty. So like 56 games this year for Red Deer. He's got 9 goals and 31 assists. One of like the most fun playmakers at center this year. I mean, I think ultimately when he ends up in the NHL, he is so small. Like he's listed 5'11", 176 pounds. Like that feels very kind. But same time, he's unbelievably strong.
They didn't push it to 6 feet. They knew that would get called for bullshit. But 5'11", everyone's like, well, you're shorter than 6 feet. We don't care.
We can't lie that bad, like that's a bridge too far, fucking. All he is like, he's got ridiculous skill and like one of those players who like half of the assists that he has, like they're him just serving these backdoor no look feeds. Like he is so fun to watch, and he's a phenomenal skater as well. But like the shot is not that, like he does not shoot. He does not like shooting.
9 goals in 56 games played. Yeah, not
right.
Awesome.
And Red Deer's not great, but he's also got 31 assists. You look like the difference between assists and goals. Like there are sometimes some of these players will just like hit 1 year the WHL or any junior hockey, and it's like if they have more goals than assists, then it's like maybe we'd keep an eye on, unless it's like 50 fucking goals and 20 assists. When it's like close, you're like, okay, is he just like kind of like getting his chance? Like is he people just serving him? Just like easy goals, whatever. But like with him, he is the centerpiece of Red Deer's offense, and he's very, very fun at doing it. But the reason I put him in the all vibes team is just like he's the one that net front scrum. He's got like this 6'4" menacing D man, like just trying to goad him into anything, like punching him in the face, and he's just sitting there laughing. He's like, okay, all right, okay. And then next time he touches the puck, he will walk that guy and just like laugh and then serve up a backdoor. So that's why I put him in the all vibes team. He's very fun. I like him a lot.
Like he's got weird Brandon Duhaime vibes where he's just sitting on the bench screaming as a fight's happening in front of him. He's not going to be in the fight, but he's just going to sit there and fucking scream as it happens.
Well, not even. I think he's just like fuck it. I think he's quietly chirping like fucking idiot. Like the one like you get chirped and like 2 days later, like, you son of a bitch. Like, motherfucker.
I don't mean this in the wrong way, but almost kind of gives off like stoner vibes. Just like, yeah. Whatever. You say what you want.
You remember what he said like 2 days later, like, that was fucking good. But he is like, he does have legit offensive upside. Like he is such a smart player in the offensive zone, like just dynamic playmaking. So I do like him a lot. So we'll see where he winds up and the rank he goes in. I feel like he could be a mid to early second round guy. I put him 60 plus right now just because there's so many other like big toolsy guys I could see go before him. But he's definitely one to track. And definitely, and like another guy, like decent trajectory too. Like he's kind of like not a no name, but like virtually somewhat unknown. But yeah, he's a very fun player. The only other guy from this group that I'm very intrigued by is Colton Roberts, another massive fucking right shot D-man, 6'4", 194 pounds out of Vancouver. Mean, big, skates. He is an unbelievable skater. So anytime you can like have a guy that big that skates that well, you love that. And again, right shot, we love it.
Yeah, 32.
yeah, that's tough. Vancouver. I think I do think Vancouver at one point lost three games in a row, and the fewest amount of goals they gave up was like 7. You're like, oh shit, that sucks. Like, that's another team. They had a bunch of guys leave for the NHL, so that hurt them this year. But a big right shot team that skates as well as he does, and is as mean as he does, and like the points don't necessarily reflect how good he is. I don't think, because I think there's decent offensive upside there too. So Colton Roberts for me is definitely another one to track. I think he'll probably go. I put him 60 plus right now just to be safe for myself. But I think he would be, if someone takes him in like the middle of the second round, you're probably getting a guy that's going to play in the NHL for a long time, be a very reliable, mean defenseman. And the defense isn't so bad that like you just can't work with it. Like he's not going to be pigeonholed to like, all right, like we have to pick what we're going to throw this kid in the ice. I think there's enough like of a foundation there defensively that I think he'll play a long time in the NHL. So another one that's just very interesting to watch for sure.